Look, you're stuck, you're frustrated, and honestly, you probably think it's someone else's fault. It's the economy, your boss, your upbringing, or maybe just terrible luck. But I've got to give you a brutal reality check right now. If you want to stay exactly where you are, by all means keep pointing fingers. But if you actually want to build an unbreakable mind, you need to hear what the ancient Stoics said about the ultimate test of maturity. Welcome to the explainer that's going to fundamentally shift how you view your own power. I want you to answer this question honestly in your head right now. Who is to blame? We live in a culture that absolutely rewards the victim mentality. And hey, it feels incredible to point the finger, right? It protects your ego. But blaming the outside world for your current position is exactly the thing keeping you weak. When you do that, you're just handing over your power, basically declaring to the universe that you have zero control over your own life. It's kind of fascinating how Stoic philosophy redefines a word we use all the time. They genuinely believed stupidity isn't about having a low IQ. In fact, some of history's absolute smartest politicians were considered fools by the Stoics. And why is that? Because a truly foolish person refuses to learn, they react entirely on emotion, and they relentlessly blame the outside world. Stupidity in this sense is simply a stubborn refusal to accept personal accountability. So let's really unpack this, because this quote from the great Stoic philosopher Epictetus hits incredibly hard. If you want to improve, stop blaming others. You see, wisdom doesn't begin when you finally get a lucky break, or when the stars magically align for you. Wisdom begins the exact fraction of a second you accept responsibility. If you fail at something, the very first place you have to look is in the mirror. A Stoic looks inward first, and that is literally the only true starting line for self-improvement. All right, let's get into section 1, the diagnosis, signs of a foolish mind. The Stoics mapped out these 7 clear signs of a foolish mind, which is absolutely crucial for anyone seeking genuine self-improvement. 1. Refusing to accept responsibility. 2. Letting emotions dictate your actions. 3. Talking constantly just to impress, totally ignoring that we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. 4. Experiencing pain but learning absolutely nothing from it. 5. Placing your happiness in the hands of others through external validation. 6. Running away from a challenge. And 7, honestly the most dangerous one, thinking you already know enough. A wise person uses this list not to judge everybody else, but as a harsh mirror for themselves. Think about the sheer difference here. Reacting emotionally versus reflecting calmly. Seneca actually warned that anger is a form of temporary madness. When you lose your composure over the little things, or you get super defensive at the slightest disagreement, you're letting impulsive emotions dictate your reality. A calm, reflecting mind will always, without fail, completely outperform a frantic emotional reaction. Moving on to section 2, the delusion of fairness, leaving childhood concepts behind. That's not fair. We hear kids screaming this on playgrounds when they don't get a turn on the slide. Yet it's wild how many adults carry this exact phrase right into their daily lives. Listen to me carefully here. Life was never, ever designed to be fair. Expecting fairness from a world that owes you absolutely nothing is just a guaranteed path to frustration and self-destruction. Because here's the reality. Complaining about fairness changes absolutely zero. It doesn't pay your bills. It doesn't fix your broken relationships. When something unjust happens, an intelligent person doesn't just sit around complaining about the rules of the game. They get to work. They adapt, they adjust, and they respond with calculated action. Action is literally the only thing that moves the needle. If you want to crush this victim mindset, you've got to take a verbal machete to your vocabulary and cut these phrases out immediately. Saying, "they made me angry," just transfers all your power to someone else. "I'll try" is basically a quiet surrender before you even start. "I don't have time" is a straight-up lie. It just means it isn't a priority. Stop hiding behind these weak excuses. Clear, honest language is what creates an unbreakable version of yourself. Which brings us to section 3, the crucible, why you must embrace discomfort. Seneca, who, by the way, was actually one of the wealthiest men in Rome, gave us this massive mental reframe. Difficulties strengthen the mind as labor does the body. If you want to grow beyond your current limits, you have to lean into the hard stuff. Seneca regularly practiced sleeping on the floor and eating stale bread just to prove this to himself. Think about going to the gym. You don't get mad at the weights for being heavy, right? The resistance is what builds the muscle. Every unfair situation in your life is just resistance training for your character. You've got a choice every single day. You can chase ease and avoid discomfort, which is, without a doubt, the fastest way to remain weak and stagnant. Or you can embrace difficulty and actually become resilient. True growth only lives where your comfort zone ends. If you're actively dodging challenges, you are actively choosing to stay stuck right where you are. Okay, section 4, the defense. Stop giving yourself away. So now we play defense against the things that drain your power. Number 1, your peace of mind. Let's say someone comes to you wanting you to stress over their chaos. You might think you're being a good friend, but you're actually sacrificing your peace for someone who won't protect it. Like Marcus Aurelius pointed out, you have power over your own mind, not outside events. So listen, sure, but never carry a burden that isn't yours to carry. Number 2, your time to prove yourself. People are constantly going to ask you to justify or defend who you are. But a truly disciplined person knows they don't owe explanations to people who've already made up their minds. Your worth isn't up for debate, and your character is not on trial here. Stop wasting your precious time trying to convince the wrong people. Number 3, trading your self-respect for acceptance. Man, this one destroys so many people. You want to be liked, so you bend, you shrink, you become this smaller version of yourself just to fit in with the crowd. But I promise you, it is far, far better to be alone and completely whole than to be accepted and completely hollow. Never trade your self-respect for the cheap currency of someone else's approval. Number 4 is giving your forgiveness way too easily. Now, forgiveness is incredibly powerful for your own peace of mind. But, and this is a massive but, forgiveness without change is simply giving them permission to hurt you again. It tells them, hey, you can do this again and I'll just accept it. Real forgiveness is earned. It's not demanded. And finally, number 5, giving your loyalty to undeserving people. We usually think of loyalty as this noble trait, right? But being loyal to liars, users, or people who only show up when they need something from you, that's just self-destruction. The Stoics were loyal to virtue. You need to cut the dead weight, protect your energy, stop giving your sacred loyalty to people who just treat it like garbage. And that brings us to section 5, take absolute control, the ultimate conclusion. We've hit the turning point here. The crucial mindset you need is summarized perfectly by Marcus Aurelius. The universe is change. Our life is what our thoughts make it. Your life right now is exactly what your thoughts, your priorities, and your actions dictate. No more hiding behind a lack of time, or fairness, or the actions of everybody else. The excuses end right here. You literally have 2 paths from this exact moment forward. You can act like a fool who endlessly defends themselves with blame, staying stagnant, staying bitter. Or you can act like a wise person who relentlessly improves themselves through absolute, unwavering responsibility. The choice is entirely yours. So I've got to ask you, are you going to drop the excuses and take complete control of your life today? If you're finally ready to stop sabotaging yourself, comment "no more excuses" below. Understand this unforgettable truth. Your life, your failures, and your future are your sole responsibility. Because if you don't build your own life, trust me, the world will happily build one for you, and you probably aren't going to like it.